Here is the last video of this series. Hopefully, I've said that before, and then I've added like a bonus video, but that's neither here nor there. This is the last video in this series of funding where I go through all the different rounds and can explain where you're at. Series B, C, D, and E is next. And I'm going to kind of wrap this all up together and talk about what's going on. So here's what happens. Okay. So what you've done is you figured out Series A. And so your A round is here. And then you want to get the business model fit, which is starting to prepare for your exit and liquidity event. All right. So what happens is startups will secure a Series B round to get that process going. That's kind of like the penultimate stage before the finale. All right. If you watch TV shows and you figure out how they kind of structure the series. Let me read this article from startups.com. As usual, I'm going to link to the description. It's a good article. It talks through all the different stages. Series B, a startup that reaches the point where they're ready to raise a Series B round has already found their product market fit and needs help expanding. The big question here is, can you make this company that you created work at scale? Can you go from 100 users to 1,000? How about 1 million? The name of the game here is, can you 10x this sucker? All right. 100 to 1,000, it's 10x. And then can you go from 1,000 to 10,000 and then 10,000 to 100,000? Can you figure out how to make those leaps? And they're going to give you funds to do that. Your product is already rolling. You don't have to figure all that stuff out. You've got all your marketing, customer acquisition, all that stuff in place. You figure that out, and now it's probably expanding. Okay, let's say you've dominated one market, North America. Can you expand to Canada? All right. Can you 10x from USA to Canada? There's just not enough people. Okay. So US to the rest of the world, or can you start inviting in a global audience, or can you reach a new market, or can you, take that next move and squeeze another, 10x, in terms of profitability or what have you, right? Can you do these, a lot of times people call it blitz scaling. This is from Reid Hoffman, where you kind of throw operations out the window and you prioritize growth. You just growth, and you just go crazy and you pretty much light the whole, startup on fire, probably your capital on fire at the same time to do all these things. And you just start, pushing. And it's not about profitability. It's about growth. That's blitz scaling. I don't recommend that because at this stage, you may just say, hey, we've got business model fit. We're going to grow. We're good. The problem is if you have VC money, they need to push you to that exit liquidity event. And that's the danger of getting all this capital. But if you've taken Series A money from a VC, well, they're going to want you to take the Series B and then eventually get to the C. And so you have to figure out, how do I 10x my money from there, which is a whole different set of rules, best practices. It's a whole new ball game. Life completely changes once you start taking Series B. I've seen it, and wow, does it ever get crazy. And it's a stressful time. You think it's stressful raising money? It's stressful meeting the expectations of all those investors when you get to Series B. And a lot of times people have to do a down round in Series B and C, D, and E because they haven't figured out yet. But this shows promise, and people don't want to see, they've already gone up to this point in time. They don't want to see you lose out. So they'll keep giving you new rounds of funding. So that's Series B. All right. So we're going to do a Series B here. Oops. Let me just change my pen here. Okay. So that's Series B. So this is the Series B here. Okay, now what we want to get to is, okay, what's next? Series C. Here's what the article says. Companies that make it Series C stage funding are doing very well and are ready to expand to new markets, acquire other businesses, or develop new products. They may also be looking to increase their valuation before going for initial public offering, IPO, or an acquisition, possibly leading to Series D and E. I added that note. So it's all about getting ready for the exit. What do you need to do to get ready for the exit or the liquidity event? And so is it develop new product? Is it to go international? Is it to acquire another company, an acqui-hire because you don't have staff, or acquire a company because you can integrate their product line into yours? You really have to be talking about what is the strategy here to get you to that stage. Typically, this is it. So you go Series C, and then you're ready to exit. Yay. Okay. Series C. If you've done it right, Series C should be the last round that you're going for. Well, I can't say that. Depends on the type of exit that you want. That's neither here nor there. We can have lots of philosophical conversation about this. But yes, I work with a few companies that are at the Series C stage and they're thinking about international expansion. So they're thinking about how to move out of their country and start going global and get ready, prepare for that IPO. So that's Series C. Now, what happens if you are figuring out, okay, wait a sec, maybe I am not ready, or we haven't quite figured out how to get to that where there's enough of an exit. And so you start to think through, we can go IPO for this valuation, and woo, investors are like, no, that's not enough because we pumped in too much money, etc. We need to see you up it. So you start thinking about some crazy strategies to get there. And so what happens then a lot some will do Series D and E to put some money in the war chest. And that's what it's all about. Put money in the war chest to figure it out. Or your company is really struggling and you need that just to survive. That's not a good scenario, right? That's where you get downgraded. Your valuation gets torn apart to oblivion. we work, we work. Okay. And you have to go back and, you're probably taking your IPO off the market. But a lot of times, like Uber, what they did is they just raised more money to put more money in the war chest because they really believed they could go IPO in a spectacular fashion. Most of our founders aren't going to be in that situation. If you're in C and D and E, even B, you're probably not talking to me, type thing. You're talking to a VC who's going to really, advise you and take you to that next level. But a lot of times I will work with founders in terms of their operational and get them ready to talk to those institutional players. There you have it. That's all the funding rounds. Once again, startups.com, online accelerator. Check out the article and feel free to join us for office hours and all those things. You might not be interested or anywhere close to B, C, D, and E rounds, but it's always great to know. So when you're signing up for that A round, you know what the game is and you can play it accordingly. All right, so that's the end of the series. Stick around. Let me know what you think. If you have any comments or questions of upcoming series that you'd like to see from me, more than happy to accommodate. If not, I'll see you in the next video series.